ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठभूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य। Hare Krishna, welcome all the devotees. We are in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. We read the first two chapters. We're going to do the third chapter, Shlok 1 today. Sut Vacha Jagre Paurusham Rupam
जग्रे पौरुषं रूपं
Bhagwan Mahad Adibhi
भगवान् महद् आदिभिः
Sambhutam Shodashakalam
सम्भूतं षोडशकलं
Adau Loka Shishakshaya.
आदौ लोकसृष्टया।
Hari Bol. Anybody would like to read the translation and purport?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universes. Purport. The Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna maintains these material universes by extending his plenary expansions. So, this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle. The original personality of Godhead, Vasudev, or Lord Krishna, who is famous as the son of King Vasudev or King Nanda, is full with all opulences, all potencies, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. A part of his opulence is manifested as impersonal Brahman, and a part of his opulence is manifested as Paramatma. This Purusha feature of the same personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. There are three Purusha features in the material creation, and this form, who is known as Karanodakshay Vishnu, is the first of the three. The others are known as the Garbhodakshay Vishnu and the Shirodakshay Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from the skin holes of the Karanodakshay Vishnu, and in each one of the universes, the Lord enters as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. You want me to read more, Prabhuji?
Mataji, unless you want to discuss.
I can guess, keep reading more.
Yes, Madhuri. I think in this chapter we'll do a little bit more reading than discussion. Those devotees who have doubts in this chapter, in subsequent, chapters, it will clarify. We'll just do a little bit of reading and just whatever we understood, we can summarize. Because there will be some things which we'll have to, get a little more familiar with, the terminologies and the mindset. So those who are not too familiar and reading it for the first time, just patiently keep reading. That is going to clarify everything in coming weeks to months. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and then again destroyed. This creation and destruction is done by the supreme will because of the conditioned souls or the Nitya Baddha living beings. The Nitya Baddha or the eternally conditioned souls have the sense of individuality or ahankara, which dictates to them sense enjoyment, which they are unable to have constitutionally. The Lord is the only enjoyer and all others are enjoyed. The living beings are predominated enjoyers. But the eternally conditioned souls, forgetful of this constitutional position, have strong aspirations to enjoy. The chance to enjoy matter is given to the conditioned souls in the material world, and side by side, they are given the chance to understand their real constitutional position. Those fortunate living entities who catch the truth and surrender unto the lotus feet of Vasudev after many, many births in the material world join the eternally liberated souls and thus are allowed to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. After this, such fortunate living entities need not come again within the occasional material creation. But those who cannot catch the constitutional truth are again merged into the Mahat Tattva at the time of the annihilation of this material creation. When the creation is again set up, this Mahat Tattva is again let loose. This Mahat Tattva contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. Primarily, this Mahat Tattva is divided into 16 parts, namely the 5 gross material elements, the 11 working instruments or senses. It is like the cloud in the clear sky. In the spiritual sky, the effulgence of Brahman is spread all around, and the whole system is dazzling in spiritual light. The Mahat Tattva is assembled in some corner of this vast, unlimited spiritual sky, and the part which is thus covered by the Mahat Tattva is called the material sky. This part of the spiritual sky, called the Mahat Tattva, is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky. And within this Mahat Tattva, there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively produced by the Karnodakshay Vishnu, also called also the Mahavishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. So before Mataji can explain, I just wanted to share something. So this was reminding me of something. Can all of those who are reading this for the first time, can you raise your hands so that I know who all are reading this for the first time? Okay, only 3 people reading first time. All the others have read before. Wow. Okay. So all those who are reading first time, if in case you felt some difficulty in understanding, then then we can discuss a little. But if all of you understood who are reading first time, can you keep your hands raised? Who all understood most of it?
Prabhuji, I'm just a little confused about the Mahat Tattva material sky.
We are just first checking all those who
Okay,
have
okay.
understood.
Okay.
So have
Okay,
you understood?
Yeah, I've understood, Prabhuji, this
Understood
Karnodakshay
most of it.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, very nice. So first time when I read it, especially this chapter, I was completely feeling like ye ho kya raha hai yaar is chapter mein, what is this Mahatattva and what is all this, I was totally unsure about many of these things, and such things may happen in the coming pages also. So important thing is to patiently somehow or the other read through, because whatever you can understand is good, and whatever you are not able to understand right now, just patiently read, because it is going to be repeated so many times that you will actually get a clear idea of what's going on as we go in subsequent chapters and subsequent cantos actually. So here things are given brief, and then in subsequent cantos they are explained further. So I just wanted to share, as I was reading this, I was remembering uh, that time when I first read. Okay, Natasha Mati, can you please share? Let's continue. Mati.
Prabhuji, I'll just share very limited and let you talk mostly.
No,
Just
no, please go ahead.
can
Take
you
your
scroll
time.
up, Prabhuji, to the translation? Okay, so here Sud Goswami is explaining the right from the beginning of the creation, how Lord expands as the Purusha, three Purushas, which we have discussed before also. So I think everybody knows that part, and how the material creation uh, is manifested. So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport how Karanodaksha. So there are three Purusha expansions comes from the Lord for the purpose of material uh, creation and maintenance. And the first is Karno Daksha Vishnu, and from his pores, skin pores, come many universes, and into each universe Karbo Daksha Vishnu enters, and into each and every living entity and everything Shiro Daksha Vishnu enters. So so those are the three Purusha avatars. And the part about and in the middle, Prabhupada is also explaining how the living entities, there are Baddh Jivas, or the Nitya Baddha means eternally conditioned souls. So there are Baddh Jiva means embodied living entities, but Nitya Baddha means that are eternally conditioned. So um, they're completely lost touch with their constitutional position, and they start to identify with the material nature. Basically have the ahankar, or the false ego, which makes them identify with the material nature, with the material body. And so they are not aware of their constitutional position and consider themselves the enjoyer and not the Lord. So in the middle, Prabhupada is explaining about that, how if with some effort these souls, conditioned souls, can start making spiritual progress and come to understand that Vasudev is the uh, original personality of Godhead and the original enjoyer, then uh, they have the opportunity to go back to Godhead and understand their real constitutional position. So I think Prabhupada is here quoting the Bhagavad Gita shloka from 7th chapter, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudev Sarvamiti Sah Mahatma Sudurlabha. That is what I was thinking of when I was reading that part. And then Prabhupada is explaining about this Mahat Tattva. So so Prabhuji, I was reading in the elsewhere also, I think in Brahma Samhita, Mahat Tattva has been explained also. So Mahat Tattva is basically the material creation, the all the material universes and everything. It's like a cloud in the spiritual sky. So the whole spiritual sky is clear effulgence. It's very bright, and there is this. So we imagine this. The analogy is like there is a sky and there is a cloud. That cloud of material creation is basically Mahatattva, and consists of many universes that are coming from Karno Daksha Vishnu. I believe that that is what Mahatattva is. And Prabhupada is also mentioning the 16 elements that were mentioned in the translation by Sud Goswami, that the 16 main constituents of the material creation or Mahatattva is the 5 gross elements, Panch Mahabhut, um, air, water, fire, ether. What did I miss? Air, water, fire, ether. Something
Fire.
I'm missing.
Earth.
Earth. And then 11 senses. So 5 working senses, or Karmendriya, 5 knowledge senses or Gyanendriya, And 11th, is it mind, Prabhuji?
Yes.
So those 16 elements are being referred to here that are the main constituents of material creation. That's the summary of this, Prabhuji, that I understand.
Very nice, Madhu. Great. Okay. So I think this paragraph is what makes everything, very clear, which Prabhupada has mentioned here. Like in the whole spiritual sky, there is some dark area, that is the Mahatattva. And what is happening, that is how creation is happening, which will be discussed in future. So we'll keep going. We'll go forward. Anybody else wants to add anything? Anybody wants to share?
Well, what chapter are we doing?
You're doing 3rd chapter, 1st shloka.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Rakshita Mataji, you want to say something?
No, Prabhuji, I'll
Your
lower my
hand.
hand.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Prabhuji, you said I keep praise, so I forgot. Sorry.
No problem. Anybody else wants to share anything? Otherwise, we'll go forward. Try to read a little bit more every day. That way we can complete this chapter timely. Okay. Who would like to read the Sanskrit here?
Prabhuji, can I try?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Yasyambhasi shayanasya yoga nidram vitanvatah
Yoga nidram vitanvatah
nabhihrinda bhujanda
nabhiridam bhujadasi
Brahma Vishva Srijampati
Brahma
Brahma
Vishwa
Srijampati.
Translation. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. Ruchi, shall I continue with the purport?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Purport. The first Purusha is the Karnodakshay Vishnu. From his skin holes, innumerable universes have sprung up. In each and every universe, the Purusha enters as the Garbhodakshay Vishnu. He is lying within the half of the universe, which is full with the water of his body. And from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu has sprung the stem of the lotus flower, the birthplace of Brahma, who is the father of all living beings and the master of all the demigods, engineers engaged in the perfect design and working of the universal order. Within the stem of the lotus, there are 14 divisions of planetary systems, and the earthly planets are situated in the middle. Upwards, there are others, better planetary systems, and the topmost system is called Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Downwards from the earthly planetary system, there are 7 lower planetary systems inhabited by the Asuras and similar other materialistic living beings. So we are all in the downward planetary system. From Garbhodakshay Vishnu, there is expansion of the Kshirodakshay Vishnu, who is the collective Paramatma of all living beings. He is called Hari, and from him all incarnations within the universe are expanded. Prabhuji, I'll stop here because I have a question. So Prabhuji, my question is here that in the beginning it said that, the first Purusha is the Karnodakshay Vishnu. Okay. I got confused between Garbhodakshay. Okay, from the Garbhodakshay, then the Karnodakshay Vishnu comes. Who is the collective? Okay,
From Garbhodakshay coming is Kshirodakshai.
Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who's
So
as a sitting.
one is Karno, one is Shiro. So
Yeah,
first
Prabhuji,
Karno, then Garbho, and then Shiro. So Karno is also Mahavishnu.
yeah. So Karno is the Mahavishnu. Then the Garbhodakshai Vishnu goes in the universes. Then from the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, the Kshirodakshai Vishnu is sitting as a Paramatma, is every individual, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So if I say anything and anybody else has any difference of opinion, please share, because I can be also making mistakes sometimes when I say things. So please share if anybody identifies something confusing. Yes, ma'am.
Why there are just so many different kind of Vishnu?
Mataji, you'll get to know when you read this, na?
Okay,
It'll come.
okay.
Okay. Please continue, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Purusha Avatara is manifested in three features. First, the Karnodakshai Vishnu, as Karnodakshai, who creates aggregate material ingredients in the Mahat Tattva. Second, the Garbhodakshai, who enters in each and every universe. And third, the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is the Paramatma of every material object, organic or inorganic. One who knows these plenary features of the personality of Godhead knows Godhead properly. And thus, the knower becomes freed from the material conditions of birth, death, old age, and disease, as it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In this shloka, the subject matter of Mahavishnu is summarized. The Mahavishnu lies down in some part of the spiritual sky by his own free will. Thus, he lies on the ocean of Karana, from where he glances over his material nature, and the Mahat Tattva is at once created. Thus, electrified by the power of the Lord, the material nature at once creates innumerable universes. Just as in due course a tree decorates itself with innumerable grown fruits, the seed of the tree is sown by the cultivator, and the tree or creeper in due course becomes manifested with so many fruits. Nothing can take place without a cause. The Karana ocean is therefore called the casual ocean. Karana means casual. We should not
Mataji,
foolishly.
causal. This is causal, like cause and
Okay,
effect.
sorry.
Karan hota hai na kisi
Okay,
cheez ka.
cause.
Karan is
Okay.
causal.
Cause. Okay, Prabhuji, sorry. We should not foolishly accept the atheist theory of creation. The description of the atheist is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The atheist does not believe in the creator, but he cannot give a good theory to explain the creation. Material nature has no power to create without the power of the Purusha. Just as a Prakriti or women cannot produce a child without the connection of a Purusha or man. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy bags of the neck of a goat, although they look like breastly nipples. Similarly, we should not expect any creative power from the material ingredients. We must believe in the power of the Purusha who impregnates Prakriti or nature. Because the Lord wished to lie down in meditation, the material energy created innumerable universes at once. In each of them, the Lord lay down, and thus all the planets and the different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and thus he can act as he likes by perfect planning. Although personally he has nothing to do. No one is greater than or equal to him. That is the verdict of the Vedas. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So anybody would like to summarize? What you just read?
So all I understood from this, Prabhuji, can I share, Prabhuji? Now?
Please go ahead. Somebody is
So
on.
in this,
Somebody is unmute. Can everybody mute if they are not speaking, because it causes a lot of background noise. Thank you.
so Prabhuji, in this they are explaining the Purush Tattva. Like there are three kinds of Purush Tattva: Karno Dakshay Vishnu, Garbho Dakshay Vishnu, and Kshiro Dakshay Vishnu. So here they were explaining
So these are Purusha avatars, you said, right? Purusha avatar.
Purusha Avatar, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I'll just open the page and then maybe start reading from the top. So Prabhuji, in this, they are explaining that how everything generates or created from the Karno Dakshay Vishnu. And Karno is, what word you use, Prabhuji, is causal, right? So Karan means the causal. So Karno Dakshay Vishnu is the cause of every material creation. And then they have given this example, like the tree, like the cultivator just saw the seed, but very soon we see that the tree is full of innumerable fruits. So that is how for the creation, like for a child, a man, a woman needs a connection with a man. Same with the Prakriti needs a connection with the Karno Dakshay Vishnu to uh, to uh, to create innumerable material, like people, like material things, or like I think like humans like us, Prabhuji. And here they are trying to explain that how everything came from Karno Dakshay Vishnu, and what is the and how the Garbho Dakshay Vishnu goes in the different universes, and the birth, how Brahmaji came. So Brahmaji came from the navel of Karno Dakshay Vishnu. Correct me, Prabhuji, if I'm wrong. And then he and other demigods, they are engineered and they are making the other universes. That's all, Prabhuji, because I can't read the whole, and this is what I could understand. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything else here?
Hare Krishna. I have a question. Like in the second line, it says that he is lying within the half of the universe, which is full with the water of his body. What does that mean?
Yes. So anybody would like to explain this? What does this mean? So this is described as the Garbhodak ocean. Like you see, the many times Lord is lying down, and then there is like an ocean, and Vishnu is lying, and then Sheshnag is on top of his head, and Lakshmi ji is
Yes,
massaging his feet.
Prabhuji. Yeah.
So that is, it is like the ocean, and it comes from Lord Vishnu. So comes from his body, and it is actually occupying half of the universe. That's what it says.
So Prabhuji, isn't it explained that it is the coming from the pores of his body, like the sweat or
Pores of his body.
Yeah. So there are two things. One is Karno Dakshay Vishnu, from his body universes are coming, and then here specifically Garbho Dakshay Vishnu, from his body the water is coming, which is filling each of those universes.
Prabhuji, I want to correct. I mentioned that the Brahmaji came from the Karno Dakshay. It is actually from the navel of Garbho Dakshay Vishnu. I was just reading.
So Nirbhay Prabhu, you want to add? I'm not sure if I could pick up what you said.
Prabhuji, I'm saying the water in Garbhodakshay ocean, that is from the pores of Mahavishnu's body, right? Garbhodakshay Vishnu's body.
It says coming from the body, pores must be mentioned somewhere. If you're saying, I cannot pinpoint. Where is it written?
Prabhuji, again, just like you're saying, I must have read it somewhere, but I will find
Oh.
out, and I'll try to find it out. And then one thing I wanted to mention is what came to my mind is when we were saying that, like when Mataji mentioned that all of us is created by when Prakriti comes in contact with um, Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, then all the beings are created. But that would be the body of the beings, right? Not the soul.
So Prabhuji, that is complicated process. This is just activation of Mahat Tattva which is happening, after which the creation, the universes will come, and then Garbhodakshay Vishnu will come inside, then the whole procedure will go on. So it is just activating, and then the living entities are going there. It will all come actually in
Right, and the
subsequent
glands,
chapters
yeah.
and future cantos.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The details of all this is going to be explained in future. So in the specific details, I think we'll just patiently wait for that. Anybody else has any? We just taking a bird's eye view right now of what's going on. And then later on, we'll go to the specific locations and, differences, all these details in subsequent cantos. Okay, anybody else want to add anything?
Prabhuji Dev, I mentioned here the 14 divisions. I mean, the middle is situated, so earthly are situated in the middle. So what are these 14 divisions? I mean,
I'll
did
show
he?
you. Maybe
Okay,
pictorial representation may be easier.
okay, Prabhuji.
I think the chart we have seen before also, right?
Oh yeah, okay, Prabhuji.
In
Okay.
chart, if you see, here is the Mahavishnu. Can you all see Mahavishnu? So from his
Yes,
body, all the universes are coming, right? And then this is one of the universe, and in this one universe, he expands as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. In the Garbhodakshay Vishnu, this whole universe half is filled with water, and this is the lotus stem coming. In this stem, actually, there are all these planetary systems, 14 planetary systems, 7 higher and 7 lower, and Earth is in the middle. So Earth is in the middle. So this is Lord Brahma coming, is the topmost, Satyalok. And then below that is Taplok, Janalok, Maharlok, Swar, Bhuvar, and then Bhur. This is Earth. And then below the Earth, which means inferior, are the Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasa, Talal, and Patal is the lowest. So from the highest planet of Satyalok to the lowest planet, Patal Lok. What does Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita? From the highest planet to the lower, all are Kahoot quiz. All are places of miseries. A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punarvati Arjuna Ma Upet Kontiya Punarjanma. They're all places of miseries. So this is how this whole universe is. And then, of course, if you go beyond this, is the Brahma Jyoti, then beyond this is the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, all this. So this is the whole spiritual world. And like you must have read in Prabhupada's book, only what? 1/3 or 1/4 is the material world. And rest is all spiritual. And within that material world, there are so many innumerable universes. So is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Now.
Yes. So all these are universes. So within this. And the universes have layers also. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, then Mahatattva. So this is all the layers. Okay. So okay, we'll keep going forward. Anybody wants to add anything more? Okay, we'll read one more. Any volunteers for reading the Sanskrit? Okay, I'll read. Yasyavayava samsthane
Yasyavaya samsthane
kalpito lokavistara
kalpito lokavistara
tadvai bhagavato rupam
tadvai bhagavato rupam
vishuddham sattvamurjitam
vishuddham sattvamurjitam.
Okay, who will read?
I can read translation.
Yes, ma'am.
It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created ingredient. His body is eternally in spiritual existence per excellence, purpose. The conception of the Virat Rupa or Vishwarupa of the Supreme Absolute Truth is specially meant for neophyte who can hardly think of transcendental form of personality of Godhead. To him, a form means something for his material world, and therefore an opposite conception of the absolute is necessary in the beginning to concentrate the mind on the power of the extension of the Lord. As stated above, the Lord extends his potency in form of Mahatattva, which include all material ingredients. The extension of power by the Lord and the Lord himself personally are one in one sense. But at the same time, Mahatattva is different from the Lord. Therefore, the potency of Lord and Lord are simultaneously different and non-different. The conception of this Virat Rupa, especially for the impersonalist, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. This eternal form of the Lord exists prior to the creation of Mahatattva, and is stressed here that the eternal form of the Lord is par excellence spiritual transcendental to the mode of the material nature. The very same transcendental form of the Lord is manifested by his eternal potency, and the formation of the multifacious manifestation of incarnation is always the same transcendental quality without any touch of the Mahatattva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This
Okay.
is too complicated. I'm not going to.
This is
I
too
won't
complicated.
try to explain it. You have to.
No problem. So
Explain
what
it.
we'll do is let me quickly read it once again, and then slowly I can explain. So we'll do translation. It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence. So in the purport is saying the conception of Virat Roop or Vishwaroop of the absolute truth is especially meant for neophyte who can hardly think of transcendental form of the personality of Godhead. So many people, they know Krishna showed his universal form in the Bhagavad Gita. You're all familiar with this, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Even Arjuna said he wants to see his universal form, right? But actually, you know what? Universal form seeing is not for advanced devotees. Why? Because advanced devotees, they are very, very happy seeing the 200 beautiful form of Lord Krishna. They are in fact very, very pleased seeing the threefold bending form of Krishna, Tribhanga, with flute in hand. And here Prabhupada is saying this, that this Virat Roop and Vishwaroop conception is actually meant for neophytes who can hardly think of transcendental form of the personality of Godhead. They don't understand. They think, "Arey, 200 form, what is the big deal? You know, we also have two hands. This is not anything extraordinary." So these are low spiritual intelligence. One who is advanced spiritual intelligence, he has so much love for Krishna directly that his 200 form, he actually sees and immediately he feels transcendental happiness and bliss. So he doesn't need the proof that this is God. There is heart-to-heart connection already there. But neophyte, they need some, some proof. Otherwise, looking like me only. So to him, a form means something of this material world. And therefore, an opposite conception of absolute is necessary in the beginning to concentrate the mind on the power extension of the Lord. As stated above, Lord extends his potency in the form of Mahat Tattva, which includes all material ingredients. So Mahat Tattva has all the ingredients which are necessary for creation, right? The extension of the power of the Lord and Lord himself personally are one in one sense. But at the same time, the Mahat Tattva is different from the Lord. So what does it mean? Anybody can explain this? Anyone? So the Lord, like for example, Krishna and Krishna's energy, they are in one sense same, just like sun and sun rays. When sun comes inside, we say, oh, sun is in. But actually, it's not the sun, whole sun has come, but it's just the sun rays. So similarly, Krishna and his potencies, they are in one sense, it is Krishna's, it's belonging to Krishna, right? So in one sense, it's one. Like here, it's an extension of the power of the Lord, and Lord himself personally are one in one sense. But at the same time, Mahat Tattva is different from the Lord. So it is same also and different also, right? Krishna says, right, the material world is my inferior energy. And who is the superior energy of Krishna? Who is the superior energy then?
Radharani, Yogmaya.
Radharani.
Radharani is usually internal potency. Superior energy is Jiva. Jiva Bhuta Mahabahu. Right? The living entities are the superior energy. Krishna says about the inferior energy, Bhagavad Gita, and then says, apart from this, there is a superior energy of mind, which includes the living entities.
Prabhuji,
So,
but I have a question. But Prabhuji, the living entities are the conditioned soul.
yeah,
So
but they
how
are,
come they are superior?
because dull matter is not at the same level at living entities. If a car is had an accident, will you first go and figure out what is going on with the car, or first you will save the person inside?
Got it, Prabhuji. Got your point. Yes. So
So that
living
is
entity means the all creations, Prabhuji, like the animals and other things. So
living
in
entity
that
means jiva, any jiva,
any jiva. Okay.
any jiva, whether it's nitya bhakta, nitya mukta, just jiva is superior energy.
Prabhuji,
When we
jiva
talk
means
about internal potency, internal and external, then we talk about those who are under the influence of the external energy, they are like Nitya Baddha, and those who are under the internal potency, they are Nitya Mukta. Most places it is like that. Some places it may be a little different. Is it making sense?
प्रभु जी, so एक question, प्रभु जी, नित्य मुक्ता में तो फिर human being मतलब सिर्फ me आएंगे ना, like human beings जो like from different from the animals and then waking things. So नित्य मुक्ता में तो सिर्फ हम लोग ही हो सकते हैं, not the animals, right, प्रभु जी? Because they say na that you got this human life to meditate and to know the purpose, but the
Yeah, so
animal cannot realize.
it is most easiest to get it in human form of life. But at the same time, you know, when we are talking about animals, you know, in spiritual world also there are animals, and they are spiritual, they are transcendental. And then there are demigods, and they can be pure devotees also. There are beings in the higher planets also. I think just yesterday, day before, we read in one purport, Prabhupada was mentioning that Lord's business is just not in the human form, going on so many other places. Remember? Maybe, I'm not sure if you joined or not.
Day
Doesn't make-
before yesterday, no, Prabhuji, I didn't join.
So there was a purport. Anybody else remembers? Where this was mentioned by Prabhupada. Anyways, just few shlokas before, if you get a chance, just read those. Fine. But the point here is that it doesn't matter, you know. The idea is that it's easiest in the human form of life. So we should focus on the human form of life. There are great personalities who sometimes got, you know, animal body. And even those animals who are in the dham, they are actually not ordinary animals also. So therefore, we have to, being, you know, followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to respect every living entity anyways. So we have to respect everybody. But yeah, what we can get in human form of life, the chances are very rare to get in any other form. So it's easiest and the most conducive for spiritual life. So from that standpoint, you're right. But point is not whatever body we are in. The point is that all the living entities are superior energy, and the elements, the material elements of how the structure of the universe or the creation or all of this is, that may be the inferior energy of the Lord. But in one sense, they are both, you know, Lord's potencies. Is it okay, Mataji? Can proceed?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So therefore, the potency of the Lord and the Lord are simultaneously different and non-different. The conception of the Virat Roop, especially for the impersonalist, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. This eternal form of the Lord exists prior to the creation of the Mahatattva. And it is stressed here that the eternal form of the Lord is par excellence spiritual or transcendental to the modes of material nature. So I'll read this again. The conception of Virat Roop, especially for the impersonalist, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. So there are different people who are approaching the Lord, and even those who are reading Bhagavatam, even amongst them, some may have impersonal conception. And those who are impersonal conception, they can get attracted more to the Virat Rupa than the personal form of the Lord. So that is what is saying. The conception of Virat Rupa, especially for the impersonalist, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. Actually, all these things will be elaborated later. The Virat Rupa is not necessarily considered as eternal, but for an impersonalist, that is how the impersonalist feels. Then this eternal form of the Lord exists prior to the creation of the Mahat Tattva, and is stressed here that the eternal form of the Lord is par excellence spiritual or transcendental to the modes of material nature. So of course, the form of the Lord is always transcendental to the modes of material nature. The very same transcendental form of the Lord is manifested by his internal potency, and the formation of his multifarious manifestations of incarnation is always of the same transcendental quality without any touch of Mahat Tattva. So basically what it means is that Lord's form is transcendent. It does not get affected by material things. So if you want to keep it simple, we can just remember this point. Anybody else would like to share some thoughts on this?
How to remember simple?
Or to remember simple, that Lord's form is beyond the modes of material nature.
Okay.
So remember, in my first reading of Bhagavatam, it took me very long time to complete this third chapter, because third chapter can have certain things which can slow us down. So don't get too much into technicalities. Just try to give a reading, and these things will be more easily and clearly be understood as we keep reading and go forward. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else wants to add any point here before we conclude?
Prabhuji, I had a question, but because you said that, don't go into technicality, so I lowered my hands.
Yes, technical questions, better you wait till you are done with at least first canto, and even second, third canto, you'll get all these things in detail.
Okay, Prabhuji.
All
Hey,
right.
Krishna Prabhuji, I just had one thing to mention, that I was not able to find any reference of that. So I think that is, I got confused with something about the Garbhodaksha ocean. So it's just mentioned everywhere that is just, it is just there, and its constitution is not mentioned.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Anything you want to add for this particular shloka?
No, Prabhuji, thank you.
All right, thank you all the devotees. So we'll end it here. Very, very grateful for your presence and your patience. Just we'll keep reading, and soon stories will also come in subsequent chapters. So just patiently continue to come for the conferences. We'll end it here. Vacha
Rubhyascha
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
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 की जय
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.